Remember when they used to call me, in a way, Katyusha? Well, I wasn't Katyusha. You see, Jamila was something else. Jamila closed your pink and orange cheap-ass corporations of cancer. But she wasn't famous for cancer corporations in Poland or Ghana or Kenya or Italy or the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods of Cairo. Jamila was famous for grey and black. Now, what grey and black was of 221, before you royally smashed the original girl's head on the coastlines, because you're cowards and you're not patriots. You're just what you are, US. And I'm going to say US because you're not having fun with this shit. And we know that with the Dr. Parrots. The Hague knows about the ghost lines and the Bureau de Veritas. When you smashed that girl's head on the ghost lines, they called it nails. Obviously, they're not going to make any hard nails out of pink. You can only make hard nails if there's limits to growth. What the limits to growth of Grabor was is that you smash somebody's head on the ghost lines, the intelligence will disappear. If you could call it intel. Because it wasn't the pink oranges of Poland or the Dar es Salaam neighborhoods or Italy. It was the greys and blacks of Jamila. It was the space tech. Now, that shit don't grow on trees. So what was inside Jamila's head is something that no PhD will reopen, ever. Not even the pink and oranges of cancer and whatever shit they have in the Poland and other places. Now, considering that that's old news on Connect the Dots Worldwide to Globals, because the number came and went, 221, and no one noticed it in the US. 221 is the number Delft. It's basically the Bilderberg number of the Delft Church, the New Kirk in Netherlands. Well, there was new or old, I couldn't give a shit. In any case, it's a lowlands. It's a Holland. So when they spoke about the Plummentine, when they spoke about the Fall, when they spoke about Katyusha, when they spoke about the they spoke about a girl that once existed in the US and around the world who had her head smashed, and eventually you had the intel and then eventually you lost it. So she worked on the coastlines. Now, when they brought back the Disney version of her from Crab to Krabby, she was already a different girl. She was another girl, me. So you just start at Crab to Krabby, then you send your cycles, and we have the Dr. Parrots as an additional paperwork for me so you can feel good about your PhDs up your ass. Okay? So when they said Delft, di nome di fatto, when they said she was Delft, they meant it. They didn't mean it as, just any intel. I'm better than you. I'm going to judge you. We smash your head on the ghost lines. You fucking bitch. I'm going to kill you. I'm a fucking psychopath. This is America. This is the Americana way. Okay? Yes. So that's why there's a Scotland film. And while you speak as patriots, that shit emptied long ago on the coastlines, the Manhattan Project of the 21st century, if you want to call it that, even if it's not. I am not pro-Jewish. I am not pro-Mossad. Nobody is. Nobody with the right mind is. Even in the CIA. They collaborated with the Jews since the Nakba, but they don't like them. Just like they didn't want them before World War I and World War II in America. And it has nothing to do with Nazis. I'm sorry. It has to do with the history of the Jewish tribe for 5,000 years. In other words, you don't even know history. Okay? So you send me your psychos on my literal crawlies, and of course, eventually, you send so many psychos and stalkers, I don't fight. So they don't call it rape. They call it something else. They call it Schadenfreude Jr. Because you're federal prisoners from San Quentin. That's it. That's who you are. That's what you represent. That's what you are. Not what I am, but what you are. So that's what they were showing, greatnesses. Now, the girl wasn't famous for cancer. Cancer was always, you know, pink and oranges, the technology and the cancer is always... The brother of the mother is 96. He was the head of sciences and ag tech at Warsaw University. So if you look at 96 years of the history of Poland, and you have Polexit in Article 7 at the moment, do your math, because you're retarded. And so I have to talk to you like retards. With all the psych, I have to. Because you haven't stuck to stupid times. Greenwich Mean Time, you stuck to mentally retarded times with me. With your psychos. And so considering that that's old news on the news, they can sue you. Because if you have The Hague, you already lost the intel with the ship to yacht and the corporations. Long ago. Then, you will be adding the Italian tribunal, aka the Roman pink ass that I made look rosy through me, and the shit on the ghost lines rosy. So when they said every half penny, they didn't mean some federal prisoners at Dolores shelter up my culo from Fresno, saying to me that they're my best friends, a la Jodie Foster. They meant fuck off, because they're from Fresno, they're in San Quentin in LA, and they're in Frisco. That's what we call stalkers. Whether they're afraid of Tom and Jerry Dyer towels and his county reputation, whatever the reason behind their actions. This is not to do with the coastlines, because the coastlines, unfortunately, already lost that intel with the corporations. Whether they're pink, orange, or grays and blacks. That's already gone. Elon Musk moved to Texas. He's not going to look at that shit on the coastlines. He's going to turn in his own grave and move to a safer state where there is martial law, where there is, you take a gun out in Texas, come near me, I'll fucking kill your ass, So he's moving from laid-back California to, yes, Texas, the sciences. He's trying to get it, assholes. So when you get that, when your puny brain get that, just for your extras, because you're extras, and the accessories, and I'll say accessories now, for Fresno, where the parents are on retirement, because there's no sciences there, unless you want to add dumping radioactivity, by extension, the child to bring in some buddies and friends and ex-colleagues and who knows what else, soulmates, friends, and all the rest. They can help. Why? Because if you have criminals in Fresno, where you're doing all those flyings beyond the library, with the hanging benches of Laura Quintas and Annie Direct, in Brussels also defending them for their jobs. They're D1s. As a D1, they worked in Austria, TCY, USAID. They were born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities, say, Marosk is Turk, Piashitz is Russian. Okay? And that's not even news. Because the Harry Potter goes around the capital cities. It ain't fucking news. It's just out there. Even children and cats and dogs and birds and bees, the zoo out there can see this shit by now. So don't start with me. And there's this Cockland film to stay out of your beautiful PhD up your ass country. And tits and ass and the whole shit, I'm the best. Because you're not. Because you've been begging for intelligence from China and Russia. We gave it to you, and then eventually what did you do with that girl? Smashed her head on the coastlines and jumped on my grave and brought back Disneyland and still sent psychos. What was she good at? Why is the intel still paying? Why did the corporations of pink, orange, greys and black shut down? Why did the weapons before World War III? The new space tech of the 21st century, July 20th, empty. Why did the buildings in Massachusetts, DC and Langley, and NASA is empty when I died? And brought back limits to growth, Pebble. Yeah. Bacterial Ubermensch agents. You know when they say to each his own, they fucking meant it, you fucking asshole. So when I went to school with the president's kids for free in high school, and I was out at 15, reason be it, they had cancer, they had holes in their heads. The politicians. The girl wasn't a politician, neither are the parents. Moron. So this is what we call an attack on your country. On the coastlines, because you lost the intel. So you're not patriots. And I can also tell you another thing. You're patriots of Fresno for the Barons, they patriots. Otherwise, you're just a heap of shit. So that's why everyone on the planet is turning in their own grave over this. That's it. And because you haven't noticed anything, because I come out like this, where is it? Okay, 221. It's like nothing ever happens on the coastlines. Nothing ever happened. I'm gonna blimp in and blimp out. That's like the United States is made forever and ever. So I say, how? Must be the limits of growth. If you smash somebody's head on the coastlines, that's not the same girl. She's another girl, or other boys, another boy. So. In other words, you can have highly intelligent killers, but you'll never have the original girl back. Not after you smashed her head on the coastlines. So when they said that I was full of pain at the age of 5 growing up, from crab to crab B, the pain was the knowledge of La Sapienza University on the first, second, and third floor with those empty buildings of space tech and sciences. They didn't have cancer because they thought cancer was too easy in Italy, but yeah, it was on the side. And the other buildings. But the problem is that it was you who lost the intel in the US. Therefore, the corporations are sued in the US and not abroad. Because after all, they even tried DACA pharmacy and Cancer Pink in New York. But remember, the girl wasn't pink. She was grays and blacks. So the weapons that she had shared with you, literally long ago, that's the buildings that are empty. That's the NASA and the ESA in Massachusetts and DC. Now, that girl doesn't exist anymore. I've been trying to explain that to you. Because if you smash somebody's head on the coastline, there's limits to growth, literally. So if those are the relics of that girl, this pink and blues, it cannot be the same girl. I'm not saying you can't make highly intelligent bacteria killers, genetically speaking, after smashing somebody's head in on the coastlines. I'm just saying it's not exactly a positive spin to the situation. But, you see, the work was on the coastlines and elsewhere. So I did do connect the dots for wise to group balls in this format, a map from crab to crabby. Having said that, there's the flyings, there's the runnings, then there's the crab to crabby. Therefore, when they said the Scotland film, you're having fun. Now, you're saying, I don't like what I hear. Bitch ass. You can't even open a pink and orange. No, you can't, psychopath. You won't. Because she came with the grays and blacks. She left with the pink and oranges too. Those are corporations. When they say every half penny, they're not fucking kidding on the coastlines. You smashed a leader on the coastlines. You're telling me there was a big ship to yacht. There's bridges shot up all over the world, and you're telling me that's old news, and you're still fucking gripes with Disneyland with your psychopaths. Shot him for a junior too. You're not intel. You're assholes. Unless you want to call their girlfriends assholes. For Fresno, where the parents are on retirement, the multitasking. I told you, they're born in the pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. They're dark. I'll give you an example. Example, watch. Let me check this. The size of Papa's foot is larger than that. It's 1 foot. So you have hills that go up, and then you have mountains beyond the library. There are like other areas, locations, I wouldn't say, locations in DC. Locations out there, then you have the hills, and it hits the roof of the library on the hills. And then you have Sek. Me. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Crab to crabby, baby. So how many times can you fly? How many times can you run? And how many times can you crawl? Literal. You know, they're on retirements. Get the fucking definition right. Look up a dictionary, regular dictionary. Retirements. You speak about power games. You speak about PhDs. You speak about limousines. And I'm looking at you like, Disneyland can fucking figure it out. The cats, dogs, birds, and bees around the capital city. Can put a stand-in tripod. Okay, Peabody, Sweet Pea. Okay, yeah. Make your own fame. Make your own fame. Do something in society. Judging Disneyland. So you can feel like woman. This is a genetic particular corn cob. I'm not, the only thing I have in common with the original girl is her eyebrows. That's it. Mousse. The nails, everything's different. Don't start. So you see, this is what they call Schadenfreude Jr., all the Dr. Parrots in Italy and London and Berlin and Washington and Russia and Arabia, all the main hospitals, UCLA, New York. Schadenfreude fucking Jr. You're having fun. Delayed response, you're inventing shit in Fresno for the parents. Now, the famous intelligence of Fresno between the nurses and the nursing homes, the accessories, because you're accessories. Your bitches and assholes in Fresno that you call such American girls with 5X bras and their boyfriends are criminals. Who runs the town? Who's his buddies? Who's the adults? Who's his girlfriends? The fame of Fresno. From the beginning of all the flyings, all those runnings on the hills, mountains and hills, and then more mountains after the ground. For me. The third one for the dad is still crap. It's on the hills. It goes down the steps behind the library. And for the mom, it's to the side, on a little alley, a little forward, because they get her from Fresno to Poland, Poland to Russia, with the cleanest record in the history of the Eastern Bloc. And there was King Abbasid, who has 4 PhDs in NASA, who was there for 4 years straight. Generals. Not the cleanest record in the Eastern Bloc. Nobody's all like a chill. Fan. Yes. So the British, the Italians, Interpol, FBI and others, they say, yeah, delicate, weaker and older. Okay? And it took them 4 years at Okshay 13 to say that to me. Motherfuckers. 4 years of trackings. For the father and the mother, it's the same motherfuckers in Fresno. They're jobs, D1s. Also, TCOR later on, USA. That's a humanitarian job. That's pioneer cows on the capital city. I mean, how many times can I do the Royals and Little? How many times can I do the flyings? How many times can I do the runnings? And then this. Royals and Little. You even have the Scotland film. You have Radio Global. What are you comparing yourself to? The shit of science that was lost in some relic Ubermensch? You're comparing yourself to the parents? What are you doing, you motherfucking retard in Fresno? Or in the US? You say, I'm the loser. Yeah, I lost my life. Literally the life of that girl on the Gulf lines with her head smashed in with a big ass ship with the corporations. The leader of that. Is what? You want intel from Russia, from China for July 22 to 1? Yeah, but that's all news on Gone with the Wind. What are your pretenses? Beautiful. I'm the best. What about Lady of the House? Lady of the House! And what about the verbal vitriol coming out of Fresno from those nurses and boyfriends and all that shit? You're criminals! You're completely nuts! You got hanging benches, along with us and Nally Direct, wanting to bomb Fresno. Excuse me, politically correct without being woke. No, sorry. By now, you can start talking to cats and dogs and birds and bees, global zoos out there, and say to me, invent shit. Why they saying give him a headache? Over down on the East Coast, it's worse than a headache. They call me Nixon. Watergate on the Ghost Lines. But care. You see? Everybody sitting there, everybody say, why they brought back this one? With all the blessings on the blind. I'd rather be blessed by the Vatican, the Opus Dei, the Brits, Inner Circle. Even German airspace can look at me and say, whoa. We know what this is. Even Theo Haufer. I'm not Nazi. You're insulting me. You're insulting me on even the smallest things. I'm not Jewish. Keep your undermen for 80 years kings of the world, Jewish tribes. 5,000 years of extermination. 80 years of power at the Nakba. I'm not Jewish. And stop sending me psycho Jews who are in the Mossad. Because your country, my dear, for Schadenfreude Jr. will pay beyond. It already has. The Italian tribunal already has 250 pages for psycho stalkers. And your mumbo-jumbo psych shit in Fresno at the psych ward. You don't see it. Well, it ain't gonna be cash either, is it? Only. And that's your extras. Extra babies, extra bitches and whores and assholes. You're having fun as criminals. And you don't know what your government is paying. What's lost on the Ghost Lines will stay lost with a big-ass ship to yacht, together with the big heads and the plum heads around the world. That's old news on the news. Picking on Disneyland was very bad in intel. Any intel will tell you that, especially if that girl was famous for something, and then she became famous for having her head smashed on the Ghost Lines and coming back like this. Crab to crabby. You want to speak about byproducts of stupid times after you smash somebody's head in on the Ghost Lines, a historic, according to China and Russia and all the others? Okay, that's why I came back. Not for your fuckers, or your bitches, or your PhDs, or your careerists. The sciences is gone, darling. You won't even reopen Pink and Oranges of cancer and others. Cousin of the father did sciences in Cairo, head of sciences in Hackensack. This is cheap. You have to go to Saudi Arabian Mir. I said, for what? I'm dead. Okay, every half penny for that too. Mutt. Anyway, this is who you are. Okay? So remember that when you start judging a book by its cover and by being bitchy. Because when you speak about bitchiness, even a girl who has no teeth and is a replacement child at the age of 51 will tell you to your face that you're losing in this country. You would have lost nothing by going to Fresno. Fresno's intelligence. Long ago. Nothing. And giving them a headache. Also a politically correct Havana. Woulda, shoulda. And believe me, that kind of intel will never come back. It won't. That was that historic one. The Greys and Blacks on the Ghost Lines. With the corporations. And you needed those weapons before World War III. You needed them. July 22-1 never existed. Gone with the wind. Congratulations. The best. PhD. I'm pretenses. I hate that bitch. I hate that bitch. This is America. Welcome to America. Also Dr. Parrots. Making good study about that one. Fame. Can't even put in a replacement child. Crab to crabby after that shit on the Ghost Lines. And you're speaking about byproducts of Supertime Blues. Keep dreaming, bitches. You don't even know how that happened. And that's not the parents either in Fresno. That won't reopen. The Blues won't reopen that shit on the Ghost Lines. They can't. They simply can't because the original had her head smashed in. The corporations were with her. And you had the intel before. Then you lost it. The parents? That's their retirements. Multitask. Goodbye. No. You joke, US. I'm sorry. Disney can tell you that by now. Cats, dogs, birds and bees. Buzz by now. Excuse me. No. Scotland film. It's best. It's the best, believe me. It's the best. No sacrifice. Yeah. Now you know. The basics. Congratulations.